right before dark. Dog's been wanting to do something all day, so now that it's cooled off a little bit, we're going to take him for a walk on top of the hill. Okay, the sun's getting low. We probably got about half hour, 40 minutes. We're going to take a walk. We're going to go all the way up to those back ridges, and hopefully we get back before dark. The dog's been really wanting to do something today, but it's been hot, and every time the dogs follow me around, and whether if I'm weed whacking somewhere, they get so hot that they go right into a ditch wherever there's mud, and they'll lay in the mud. So every time you got to wash the dog. Every time you do something, when you come back, you got to give the dogs a bath before you bring them in the house. So it's kind of a pain in the butt when it's summertime. The wintertime, it's great. They don't overheat. They love it. It doesn't even matter if there's snow or ice. Those labs will walk around. But today I think it's in the 70s, and they are overheating. They're so happy. They keep looking back like, which trail are we taking? Which trail are we taking? Because we've got so many side trails that run parallel with the mountains, and then we've got trails that go into the food plots, the orchard. We got trails that go down towards the main creek, and then we got trails that, go this way. So every time we come to the trail, the dogs are looking back like, which way are we going? And they get super excited when we actually start walking up the mountain. This is one of the steepest parts right here. When we first bought this property, this hill was complete gravel. From one side to the other was gravel. From people on UTVs and four-wheelers would use this property to connect the ridge tops. And since we've had it, I've been mowing this, and it's growing back. I've been putting some seed here and there, and because what was happening when it was raining, you would get these giant ruts, and your whole hillside would turn into a rock slide with big ditches in it and ruts. So this grass is holding the hill together. If you watched our videos back after deer season, Miss Oxford 821 found a really big set of antlers, and I'm looking at this pine tree. It's hard to tell in the summertime because everything looks different, but in the winter, that pine tree there stands out. And I think right there was the deer trail that we just walked up and started walking parallel there, and she found it right there. Like, we weren't really even that far back in the woods. Here's my water bars. I think I've got about 10 of these. So when the water comes down, it hits these hills and it diverts the water. I got to weed whack all this, and it diverts the water down off your road and keeps the water from tearing up your road. I'll show you some spots that are really bad. Anywhere it's steep, like you can hear me breathing. This is like one of the steepest parts. As soon as you start walking, so it gets little ruts. It's harder for things to grow in the steeper areas. It just doesn't hold as well. And when you come up here, even when I come up with the lawnmower or my buggy, your wheels spin and tear it up. But look at this. Look how nice green we got here. This was all gravel. Dusty dirt gravel. And of course, when we bought this place, all these woods were clear cut. If we stood on this trail, you could see all the way to the top of the mountain. Everything was like 2-3 foot high bushes. And now the trees are growing back, and this trail is actually going to be a nice shaded trail pretty soon. Here's another side parallel trail, one going that way, one going that way. There's so many trails, I don't even have time to mow them all. But I would guess, what would you say? That's probably, this hill's probably 80 acres at least. Would you say that?
Yeah.
About 80 acres. And we don't even go up in there.
Nope. We don't even go up here, really.
Yeah, we hardly go up here. This takes you, this is the main, I call it the main trail. It takes us all the way up to the top of the mountain. And it's a good hike. If you wanted to turkey hunt, this is the way we turkey hunt. Because the turkeys always seem to be on the tops of the mountains, not in my fields during the season. Here's another one of my water bars here. You can see how the water comes, hits that and goes down that way. Yeah, so when we turkey hunt, the turkeys never come down to the field. They're there all the time, except during hunting season. They're up on these mountains. So far, we haven't figured them out totally, but that seems to be the case. Now with these trails, especially this main trail, I could connect this main trail to any one of these side parallel trails, and you could actually loop, make as many loops as you wanted around these 80 acres, and you could hike all day if you wanted to. Or if you actually rode four-wheelers or dirt bike or something, you could really have some fun on the side of the mountain. It would destroy the hunting though. If you started driving up in my woods, the big bucks would be out of there. They wouldn't bed here anymore with all that activity. Here's another parallel trail here. Now when I say these trails, they're wide. These are old logging trails, and you can see all the goldenrod and sticker bushes. If I came up here at a tractor and I could bush hog all those side trails, and if anything, it would be nice to walk them. Or if you did hunt deer, you could just creep along with your rifle and just spot and stalk or still hunt nice and quietly on the trails. Now some of these you can see how it's knocked down. It was real steep like that when they dug it. Some of them are treacherous trying to drive over with your buggy or lawnmower, your deck of the lawnmower bottoms out. Sometimes I have to pick the mower up and move it off the hump if I don't go over it just right, which kind of sucks. Now mowing this trail, it takes me 4 passes. I go up, down, then I go to the side, up and down. So it takes a while, and you're on a hill doing it with the zero turn. But I got to keep it clear because this is our main access. There's turkey feather right here. It's an old turkey feather. It's our only access to get to the top of the mountain, unless you wanted to walk through the woods. You see, this one's pretty bad. You come over it and your wheel wants to fall down into that rut. You feel like you're going to flip over. I would like to drop in some culvert pipes cutting across the trail and then smooth them over with dirt and grass so you don't have to go over those humps. But that takes money, and there's so many projects, just can't do them all. Don't have time to do them all. Just keeping this trail mode is a chore. Takes a few hours. And like I was saying earlier, look how high the trees have grown. They're actually canopying over this trail now, which is good because we'll have a nice shaded trail, but it's also bad because now I have to trim branches. So I'll have to walk this with a hedge trimmer. You can see if I stand right here, you can see all the branches hanging over the trail now. But like right now, we're in the shade. It's getting dark in here, but it's nice and cool now. We're still going uphill. Down there where the trail was not canopied over, it's kind of hot. But now we're getting into some woods, shaded. I'll show you this. So in the woods here, that is an old concrete pump jack stand from the old fracking days, oil drilling. We have these jacks all over the property in some amazing spots. It don't matter if it's on the top of the mountain, the side of the mountain, next to a creek, at the bottom, next to a stream. The people put those pump jacks in crazy places. Hey, look at this. So this is pretty nice. I just looked to the left and we've got an oak tree, we've got a hickory tree, and we've got a beautiful white pine. Actually, that is a very, very beautiful white pine. All together like that. That's some good stuff. Wow. We like seeing that. I like seeing these little hickories growing. A lot of hickory on this property. And it's some really hard wood. I love it. We also got some maple. Like here's a maple. And it's actually surrounded by a red oak. This one's a red oak. And here we have, this is another maple, but we also have a lot of beech trees here. This hillside was regrowing with small beech trees. And I've been told by some foresters that you really don't want your regrowth to be beech trees, I guess for timber, but for wildlife, especially your black bear, if you want black bear, those beech trees grow back so thick and they have the little nuts on them that they love. I'll take the beech trees. Like here's another one right here, right next to this is a white oak. All canopying over right here in this area. It's nice and cool now. Here, if you look here at these trees with the little, I don't know what they are, like almost like a dried flower pod on it. Those trees grow in packs. You'll see a little pack of them everywhere. That's a sumac. And I have some down at a lower place of the property, and I cut away everything except for those sumac trees, and it looks great. It's just, it pops. A little patch of sumac, and when the leaves change color, it stands out. People would pay big money to have a pack of sumac that looked like that. So that's pretty cool.
I used to mow that trail.
Yeah, so this side trail, which you would never guess, I used to keep mowed. This side trail goes on for hundreds and hundreds of yards, wraps totally around the whole mountain, and I mow this. I just haven't done it this year, and 1 year you can't even walk through there.
Is that where that platform is?
I actually have a wooden platform that I made, and I set it up back there. Oh, we got a little toad.
You have a stuffed animal.
Oh, the dog. You bend over, the dog wants to take over. Yeah, so I made a wooden hunting platform, and it's down there on that trail back there for hunting. If somebody wants to hunt on that platform, it's a good spot where the deer go up and down the mountain. But to get to the stand, you're walking up some of the steepest part of this hill. So we're at what I call the switchback, where your trail will make a sharp turn.
So remember, that's a skiing video.
Yeah, we have a skiing video, and this is one of our favorite spots to crash when we're skiing. But these switchbacks prevent you from walking straight up your mountain. It kind of like gives you a nice zigzag on your way up. So after it made that switchback, now we're doing another steep incline. And for some reason, this area gets a lot of water, just the way it flows off this mountain. And I would say for the next 100 yards is some of the worst area on this road here, this trail, just washed out. I probably have to install a couple more water bars, because you can see the middle hasn't grown any grass or anything. It's just really steep. And you can see, like right here, it's very, very difficult to come up with a lawnmower. Now, guys with UTVs, they would love this kind of stuff. I don't. I don't want my trails to be all washed out. Here's another nice parallel side trail. Hey, look at that nice white pine up there too. That's great. Right underneath this huge, just enormous oak tree. Just gigantic, beautiful. Now when they log the hillsides, of course they take away the best timber. The tallest, straightest trees are dead. They got them. Now you would say, well, why didn't they take that Goliath of a oak tree? Well, I'm looking at this tree. Let me see if I can get you a good angle on this tree. That tree has got to be 6 feet across. I wouldn't be able to get my arms across that, not around it, across it. That tree is ginormous, but they probably didn't take it because it doesn't have a nice straight trunk. That or that split in the middle is just bad timber. It's probably rotted on the backside somewhere, or there's just too much going on. They skip over trees like that. If it's got a rotted spot on it, or it just doesn't have a perfect straight trunk. Now, they are supposed to leave what they call seed trees. So when they log your hillside, depending on your arrangement that you make with your timber company, they'll leave seed trees to regenerate your forest for you. They did not do that here. They took everything. It looked like this hillside that we've been walking on literally looked like a hurricane came through there, a tornado. It was totally destroyed. Now, I'm stopping here because this is a nice washout, but you can see these ledge rocks here. I came up here mowing one time, and there were some big pieces, probably 2 foot big flat pieces of rock here that I flipped out of the way. And when I flipped them, there were snakes under it. The snakes live underneath those flat rocks. And I didn't think of it at the time, but I should have looked, because they might have been timber rattlers. We are up here on the mountain. It could have just regular garter snakes or something, but I always wondered if there was timber rattlers here. There probably is. I wouldn't doubt there wasn't, but that's a spot that I should have paid better attention. Another terrible washout spot here on this trail, which needs to be fixed. And we're almost at a ridge here. You can see it leveling off. And it's kind of amazing that we're almost on a plateau, but yet we've got a 2 foot deep water rut right here at a flat spot. So here's another flat trail that goes all the way down that way. And we're coming up onto another switchback. Now we're walking this today because I mowed this. And people only only come up here when it's mowed. No one wants to walk through tall grass and get ticks on them. Now, they know what's down that way. I want to go this way because we've got a little secret spot up here. We're going to continue to go uphill. This is another switchback where the trail makes a nice turn. And this starts to get real steep, and we've got like a double whammy here. So it's getting steeper. The trees are canopying over. It's shaded, and the trail is really washing away. I mean, really, it really has this deep rut all the way up this trail here. And you can see some, here's another beautiful historic pump jack. One of my things to do is to weed whack and clear out every pump jack that I can find, and then label them on a map for the property and let people go walk and find them. It'd be something to do to find them and see how many you can get to for a day, like an activity. There's so many of them. Maybe you can find 10 of them. Maybe you can find 20. Who knows? But when you're going for a hike, why not hike and find something? More side trails. You can see how dark it's getting. This part of the woods, we're on the higher part, so these trees aren't like on a hillside now more. We're almost on like the side of a ridge here.
I think I found something.
Yeah, the dogs are in the woods running back and forth, so they found or smelled something. Now, a lot of washout going here. If you look at this trail, this is what the whole thing looked like. Actually worse than this. It was just a total washout, this whole thing, before we bought it. And this is really hard to come up with the mower. It's just so steep going up, and it's on a left to right angle also. You can see when I was here earlier today, that's a rut from the mower and the deck getting stuck on this rock. By myself, I had to lift the mower up to try to get over this stuff. But I really need to come up here with a hedge trimmer and open up this trail, because you can see it's getting totally blocked off now, because the higher up you go, look, another spot where I got stuck. The wheel, the deck, and the wheel spun over there, trying to figure my way to come up. So we're on one of the highest points now, and this is one of the most beautiful spots here. We call this the campsite. Up here's our little fire ring, and I came up here and I mowed this. Now, when we first bought this place, we bought this in the wintertime. I came and looked at it, I think it was January, February. All these trees were not here. Well, they were here, but they were a foot high, 2 feet high. You could see 10 miles that way into the valley, all the way into town. You could look this way and see 10 miles that way.
You see that barn as well? Back then was the barn, now it's the house.
Yeah, you could see everything. So we could do that. We could come up here and cut all this down, cut this hill back probably 50 yards down, and keep this mowed, this hilltop mowed, to keep the view up here. And this is flat this way too. I started taking the mower back here just to see what I could do, and it's pretty flat. So I could probably extend this, I don't know how many yards, but we could get a nice, maybe I could squeeze out a 1/4 acre up here on the top, a nice 1/4 acre flat spot, whether a food plot, or maybe come up here with, build like a little rustic cabin way up here. Somebody wants to stay up here with the bears, they could stay at the house and drive their 4-wheeler all the way up to the top of this mountain and stay up here and rustic camp it if they wanted to get away. Yeah, okay, so if we turn right, the dogs know. If we turn right, the trail just this would take a day to finish this, but we've got mud puddles now because now we're on the ridge, so it kind of levels out. So everywhere you have a level spot, now you're going to have puddles, mud puddles, ponds, water holes. Like, I don't even have to build water holes for the deer because nature already did it for us, but it's on our trail actually, and I leave it because nobody comes through that way. If we keep going that way, we'll end up at the tippy top at the end of the property. So by leaving this trail kind of overgrown with the mud puddles, it keeps people from sneaking in from the forest to the top of our property here. We're gonna just do a little backtracking real quick. I'm gonna try to get through this as fast as I can. I can hear the dogs panting louder than me. I thought I was breathing heavy, but the dogs are overheating. Yeah, you could see when they start walking with you, that means the excitement has worn off and they want to go swimming and cool off. The labs do so much better in cold weather. They can go all day in the snow, but like I said, it's in the 70s, and just walking uphill for a lab, this just is not what labs want. There is a mud puddle up here where we're going to, and if he sees it, if Luke sees it, the older dog, I think he's, how old is he, Jordan? Is he? 8. Yeah, the older dog is 8 years old, and I think he's 5 maybe. If he sees that mud puddle, he's going to lay in it like a hippopotamus. So we do not want him to go into the mud puddle, because then we've got to wash dogs when we get back to the house. All right, stay with him because we're gonna walk right.
Come. Hey. Luke. He knows.
Yeah, he knows it's. Hey, come here, Luke.
No.
Come here.
Come.
I'm gonna walk up there though. Do you want to just hold him while you're walking?
No.
Can you do that?
Come here.
Let me get it. They're running because see where that tall grass is up here? That's a mud hole. I'm gonna say it real quietly. It's a mud hole.
Right.
And they will lay in this stinking thing.
I know, I'm choking. I'm sorry.
So, I wanted to weed whack this. There's water in there. There's standing water and mud in there. I wanted to weed whack that and line it with rocks and make it look all nice. Another project. I came up here earlier and this tree fell down and I had to break some branches to get under it. Of course, I didn't have a chainsaw or anything with me. This is a hickory tree that broke a couple years ago and fell across the trail, and I cut it up and got some. He found it. He found another mud hole. That little stinker. Yep, look, he's in it. Golly. Well, look, see, that's what he's doing. Look, the one stinking. Look at this.
I thought we were safe once we got past
Golly.
the Luke.
And I got
Now you're gonna have to get it back.
and I got stuck in there. I forgot that was there. I was actually stuck right here when I was mowing the grass. We were almost home free if I'd remembered this. Now here's our top secret little crabapple tree. This thing produces apples all the time, and we've got turkey, we've got deer, we've got bear, I've got cameras set up all around this thing, and there are animals all over this. I'll put a clip in. So that apple tree has all kind of animals eating underneath it. And I've been slowly cutting the woods back further and further. Like I gave it another 3-4 feet today to make a nice grassy area up here. So we are on the ridge. We're walking a ridge line now. It's flat on both sides of the trail. And here's another one of my deer towers that I brung up here. Hunting tower, I'll call it. Look at this. Look at this nice hickory tree right here, right on the edge here. That's great. But I was hunting bear one year out of this in one of my older videos. And I had a mom with 2 cubs come up the trail, and they were eating the grass right here. And I was filming them out of that window right here, like 5 feet below this thing. And actually one of the bear were climbing. I get pictures of bear climbing this all the time. Like, oh yeah, see that's bear hair. They climb this. They try to climb up the legs, and I don't know why they don't use the ladder, but my trail cameras around here always have them playing on this. The bear love climbing on this thing. It's crazy. So this video has been pretty long, but that's the walk to the top of the property. I'll end the video here. It's about dark now. It's getting dark, and we've got to make it back. And now Miss Oxford 821 has to wash some dogs.
No.
Yeah. They can't come in the house like that. If it was daytime, he'd be loaded with flies right now. But we'll get out of here before the mosquitoes start coming. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to sign off. If you watched this video, thanks for taking a walk with us. I hope you enjoyed it.